Texas Tech. Red Raiders, rally up. Come one, come all, get in here. Snuggle up tight. Yo, what an episode. What a lot of news to break to you if you haven't heard already.
But you been?
Yeah, you haven't been online. I can respect that. But yeah, before we get started, this is Sibby. I'm here with Shelby. Shelby, say hi.
Hi. I'm sharing it on Facebook for the Facebook people. Sorry.
I love that. No, it's all good. I'm like, we're going to be talking to each other a lot this episode because, y'all, this is a monumental day. I don't even want to spend time wasting a second of it, but this is such a huge moment for Texas Tech sports, for the Texas Tech softball program, and that's with the USA Softball Player of the Year in 2024. One of the best pitchers, if not the GOAT. She's coming to Texas Tech University, y'all. Welcome, Nijaree Canady from Stanford. This is huge. This is the biggest transfer that we have in softball history at Texas Tech. I mean, this is a top moment in general, I think, for the Texas Tech athletic department of this recruit. And there's so much to process, and that's what we're going to do in this episode because there's a lot to talk about. We have some other players to talk about too.
Yeah.
And yeah, with Nijaree Canady, again, from Stanford, welcome to the 806. If you've been following along with Twitter, you've kind of seen like little blips here and there. But yeah, she has transferred to Texas Tech, and there's so much more to talk about. But that is the main headline. A huge deal, a monumental, the biggest moment for our softball program in a lot of different ways, and hopefully leading to a lot more moving forward. So, where do we start, Shelby? This is like nutso potato, y'all. We have been on this roller coaster of Texas Tech softball for a while, and we've talked about last season, and y'all thought we were done with big news, but they said, hold my baseball bat, watch this, my softball bat.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we've been kind of wink, nudging y'all along to this throughout the process the last few weeks. If there's any new viewers on this, I think there's going to be quite a few new fans of softball, which we love. Go get your season tickets.
Yo.
But yeah, definitely follow, subscribe our page. Listen, this is not new news or new developments around here, but it is nice to see that it happened. You're like, wow. I think when we'll get into kind of the process, like it was. I mean, this has been like 3 weeks that we've been hearing, like, maybe,
yeah, right.
Maybe.
And like,
it's been in the works for a bit.
Glasgow's been in Lubbock for how many days?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, pretty much the day after he was hired, I started hearing, like, I was like, no way, and then just grew from there. But we can get into that. It's really cool to see front page of ESPN. If you go there right now, Texas Tech softball and Nijaree Canady is on the front page of ESPN.com with their story. There's quotes from her in there that we'll read. You can pull it up, Sibby, so you can read the quotes in a minute. That are really cool. She talks about the program, why she chose it, as well as, yes, that record breaking, shattering, game-changing NIL deal that is mentioned in there, 7-figure NIL deal. That is mentioned in that article, so we're fine saying that, like, we're not going to share stuff that's not out in the public, but that's out in the public now, so that's pretty cool. So congrats to her. I mean, I know people have feelings on NIL, but I think it's just a really cool day for women's sports, and other fan bases can feel how they want to feel, but to me, like, this is money that other sports are getting, right? Now it's in softball, and that's awesome that she gets to, like, break that wall down and say, yeah, you gave it to me, well, the next person like me is going to deserve it too. And that's what she's doing with this. She knows what she's doing. She's taking that step for her fellow players and peers, as well as just getting what she deserves, because boy, is she a player, y'all. If for some reason you're not aware of how big of a player she is,
she's so good.
She's literally the reigning USA Softball Player of the Year, the best player in college softball this past year. That was her. And she is now at Texas Tech. She was a first-team All-American, as you would assume, also being the Player of the Year this past year. She was the Pac-12 Pitcher of the Year in 2024. And then the list goes on to every other possible award you can think of. She was the Honda Award winner, which is what they pick the best player in each sport, and then they go up there. She didn't win the whole overall thing because someone named Caitlin Clark won it, but she was the representative for softball this year. In 2023, she was the Freshman of the Year and also a finalist for the Player of the Year as a freshman in 2023. Yes, if you're doing your math, she still has 2 years left, y'all. This is not a 1-year thing. You're going to get to watch her for 2 years in Lubbock doing what she does along with everybody else. Like, it's going to be exciting. And, she's also a 2-time Women's College World Series tournament team member. She took Stanford there both her freshman and her sophomore years. This past year, coming 1 game shy of the championship series. And now she's going to see if she can make some history here at Texas Tech. That's what I'm saying. Because I get it. There's probably people in this live or watching later that aren't Texas Tech fans because they're interested in this news. And I get it. I hear the hate. So Texas Tech softball? What? They've only even made the postseason 6 times. They've never made it past the regional. Yeah. We hear it, but we're taking it seriously, right? And we have been. This started a couple years ago with an investment by John and Tracy Sellers. $1 million into the program a couple of years ago for investments in the stadium that we've talked about before, and that started our NIL program a couple seasons ago. And they're mentioned in that ESPN article as the people that are behind this NIL deal with Nijaree as well. So, like, the investment's been there, and now we're just starting to see it. So I'm so excited for the current players. I'm so excited for the past players. Like, this is a part of them getting the program to where it is. And of course, Jerry Glasgow coming over. If y'all haven't been following our episodes on that coaching search and where we are, you can catch them. But it's a monumental day for Texas Tech softball, but Texas Tech sports overall. In my opinion, this is definitely the biggest transfer we've ever gotten, as far as, like, you've never gotten a Player of the Year transferring in before. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's one of the biggest recruits in school history for sure, and like, face of college softball, which is pretty cool to say at Texas Tech.
And in a shift. We're in such a shift with Jerry Glasgow, and I know we'll talk about that, I'm sure, here in just a bit, but to see, like, what he's been able to do in the limited time that he's been in Lubbock, it's all like business in some ways. And I think I've seen those replies on social media. And to be honest, I was like trying to figure it out too. I'm like, this is a lot of money. What even is happening? But this article that we'll reference in the quotes that's from her, she's talking about, like, the investment in women's sports. And it's like, okay, thank you, Sibby. Like, thank you for transition that thought for me, because it is such a huge moment for women athletes. And you're right, like, to see what is possible at Texas Tech. From here, it's possible, y'all.
From here, it's dang inevitable.
Hey, oh my gosh, that should be their new their new motto next year. Is we'll work on that. But huge moment for women's sports. I think it's really exciting, and it's also lovely to read her quotes and for her to talk about this and I know this is a huge decision, and here's the information that I am going to tell y'all about my decision, and it makes sense. And you said it too, Shelby. Like, these type of numbers are almost the norm, or going to be the norm for collegiate athletics, and that's kind of what we got with NIL and seeing this continue to evolve. And of course, it's going to evolve in this way. We're just really lucky as Red Raiders, I think, to see it happen in Lubbock. You know, at the end of the day, she had to choose Texas Tech. She had to choose Lubbock. She had to choose the program, the coach, like her teammates, all of that. And I think we're seeing everyone on the same page about, I know what this is about. This is about the potential to go into this program and do some legendary type shit. I tell you what, and it's going to be hype, and we're going to be there every step of the way. And I enjoy reading some of the counter thoughts and things like that, because it just makes me think a little bit more about it. But overall, girl, get that bag and get that World Series, because let's do it. Why not?
Yeah. It's I see a bunch of questions in here. We'll get to all your questions. I love all the interaction. Keep dropping them in here. Some of them over on Twitter that aren't going to show up in this chat are asking, like, so what was this process, right? We've been getting this question for a while, and, you know, go read that ESPN article, because I give Nijaree a lot of credit. She's not, she put it out there. She put out the process. She wanted to be transparent.
Straight up.
I don't know Nijaree. I'm sure we'll get to know her a little bit over the next couple of years covering the team, which I'm excited to do. But I can say, since, you know, following this, I very, very, very much respect how herself, her family, her camp, whatever it is nowadays with all the different people involved in these decisions, handled this. Because they wanted it to be, it was very clear they didn't want this to be a circus, despite what some fan bases were trying to turn it into, and the message boards and all all the tweets and all the things, right? They didn't want it to be that, and so they kept it pretty quiet. And I really appreciate all the schools that she actually did visit, keeping it pretty quiet. Some of the loudest schools out there, I'm not going to name names, but some of the loudest schools out there on this search doesn't even name those in the article, right? That she actually visited there. So I respect all the schools. I believe she listed UCLA, Bama, us, and maybe Tennessee, and those are the four.
Yeah,
that I was hearing at the end as well. Obviously, Oklahoma was a big name in the beginning. Whether they were a part of it or not, we will never know. But she lists those four schools and.
Tennessee, Alabama, UCLA, Kansas. So
well, Kansas is her home school, so that one doesn't necessarily count. I think as a visit. So, but that was in there too. That would have been pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you talked about Caitlin Clark earlier. So
I would have respected that. But this was in the works. We had heard about it a while. We've been like when we kept saying there's a big name, like anyone that follows softball knew who we were talking about, right? But if you're new here, new to the sport, for Texas Tech fans, that's who we've been talking about that he was going to swing at. It was by no means a sure thing up until this week when she was visiting, but we were, from my understanding, always the last visit, and so we were just waiting on it. We knew it was going to be a bit, and I was happy we were the last visit, right? Because I was like, okay, that's good. She knows where she's going before this. She can just make a decision, and we can all move on. And so I just respected the way she went about it. We mentioned it earlier. It's in that ESPN article. She did get a pretty groundbreaking for softball NIL deal, so respect to her, respect to the people stepping up. I mean, we said in our episodes along this way, like, if you invest in softball, it can be a revenue sport at Texas Tech, and by God, I'm not saying they listened to us, but they were motivated to go get it done by bringing in a coach like Jerry Glasgow, and then the John and Tracy Sellers, who again are the ones that are publicly mentioned in that article. If there's others involved, the Matador Club, it's through the Matador Club. Shout out them. Have really stepped up to help this out and help out the whole team. Like, there's other players getting NIL deals on this team, and those just aren't publicly known about, right? There's team-wide deals, there's all those things. And Texas Tech has had that in place for 2 years now, and it just keeps growing, and you're kind of seeing that come together now. So that's where we are, and you can say what you're going to say, and then maybe just read some of those quotes from her so they can hear.
Yeah. I mean, like the investment that you're talking about, she talks about it. Here's the article that she talks about. She says, I could never have imagined this, but I feel like we need to invest in women's sports. We saw it with women's basketball this year. You invest in women's sports, and women's basketball just blew up on the national stage. I think the same thing has happened with softball. If I'm even a little part of that, that's my whole dream. And that's her quote. And I also want to shout out to, we're reading from the article, Eli Letterman from ESPN.
Great article.
Beautiful article. It sounds like there was a lot of, agreement in how the information was going to get out. And it's beautifully written. It answers a lot of the questions, I think. That's what I gained from this article. So do go read it. But I love that. I love that she's thinking about, this is so much bigger than just me right now. She's thinking of the whole team and investment into this program and what she can do with it. And we'll get into some clips, y'all, here in just a minute. And
if you've never seen her play, like when I say go get your season tickets, y'all, not only just because of her, but we've been talking again. If this is the first time watching our show, go watch our previous episodes on all these other transfers they picked up, all the returners, the freshman classes coming in. There's exciting players, but you talk about passion, she has passion. So, like, she brings that for sure. Yeah, I love that quote, though. That's exactly what I was talking about. Like, that, to me, is what this is, and she should be proud of that. And anyone trying to, whatever, be haters about it, no. Like, she's spot on. Like, this is growing the game, and she's going to forever be seen as a trailblazer in that, along with Texas Tech, and that's really cool. I
think another thing, too, that kind of slipped my mind, but this is more than, it's a bigger moment than just her, but also saying that she's really trusting Glasgow and like the resources and the coaching staff. And she talks about him in her interview too, and she goes, I think the biggest thing that stuck out to me was just how many players started following him, Glasgow, days and weeks after he arrived at Tech. Like, everybody was like, hold up, the momentum is shifting to the LBK for some reason, so people are watching, and then this to be another highlight of what is already going to be next season. It almost feels like this was inevitable, right? Like, we saw the clear mission of Glasgow, and he's like, we are going to do our best to win and have the roster that gets us there. And damn, like say less secured. But I think it's amazing too to see that there's the connection as a player and wanting to learn from this coach and knowing that it's not just her coming to do the damn thing because she can do it on her own, but she's wanting to grow and get that coaching. And I think that's also a huge component of this is like the monster has being built for a couple seasons now, and I think we're starting to see some of those fruits of that investment or of that labor of, you know, having a successful year with Craig Snyder and moving on from that chapter and seeing the clear investment in Glasgow, and now this, it's what we've been hoping for, right?
Yeah,
but
I mean, we as fans deserve this. I'm just putting it out there. We've been through it. Former players, shout out them. I've talked to a few of them in the last few hours. They're very excited about this. The ones that we've heard from, like, obviously they should be. Like, this is a monumental moment for them and for fans that have been kind of in a roller coaster for a few years now, but certainly the last couple months. For the current players that are still here, for the ones that are coming in, like, it's got to be such an exciting day for everybody, because it does. Like, it's not like she's joining nobody. Like, there's a group of really talented players on this roster.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we've been talking about it, but we can pull up I know there's new people that haven't shown it, but we can pull up the roster and give you like a short breakdown. But someone's in here asking, can they win a national championship? Yeah, with Nijaree Canady, you can win that, right? It's possible. I'm not saying it's a formality or will be a favorite, but we're going to be in a lot of people's preseason picks now to make it to Oklahoma City, because she took Stanford there the last couple of years. A solid team, don't get me wrong, but she took them there. And they're really good players. Even before we landed Canady, right, I was talking to people and be like, so just talk to me honestly. Tell me if we don't, because obviously I've been hearing that we might get her. But I was like, if we don't get Nijaree Canady, what are your predictions for Texas Tech? And a lot of people were saying, I still think y'all will be a top 25 team with the roster y'all have currently. And that was pre her signing. If at least one of those freshman pitchers who are very talented step up and live up to the hype, so that Chloe doesn't have to just pitch every inning, right?
Right.
But now you have Nyjah, you have Chloe as kind of more veterans, and now you get the kind of like a cheat code of having these really talented freshmen who we posted a clip of Sam Lincoln dominating in the Alliance All-Star game this past weekend. I mean, she was just looking great out there as a lefty.
Sharp.
You have Bailey Lindemuth as a freshman coming in, highly ranked player, a two-way player, can pitch and she can play in the field. She's in an All-Star and All-American game on Saturday that you can watch on ESPNU. And you have a list of others. Haley Toney is a big-time shortstop in that group. You have Brinley Gonzalez, who we've talked about before, who's a lefty pitcher. Lubbock, we're calling her a Lubbock native. She went to Aledo High School, but she was born in Lubbock, raised in Lubbock. And you have so many more of those players that are just like, they're just very, very talented players. And then you have the returners. And Demi Elder, y'all know we're big fans of Demi. I think she'll be a leader on this team. There's not many seniors. She was one senior that was here. Now we have two with Alexa Langeliers, who signed as well this week, who we're going to show clips on as well. And you have two seniors, but Demi was kind of that emotional leader for the team last year. She'll be here as an outfielder. And then you had two rising sophomores who are all Big 12 freshmen, and Reagan Jennings and Logan Holloman. And it's just a very talented roster. And if people don't realize it, that's cool. But you're about to. Like, I was excited about where we were headed anyway. Right. And he already had done more than I thought he'd be able to, because he took over so late. Remember, like, that was what hurt so bad about the previous staff leaving, is like when it happened. Like, we were in a bad spot for it to happen that late, and he really came in here, was like, bet I'm not scared, and he goes out and gets Alana Johnson, right, one of the top players in the portal. You get Katie Lott, who has a very bright future, just hasn't had a chance yet, from Oklahoma State. He brings over 5 players from Louisiana. All-Americans in that group. Some really good. You got Chloe Riasetto, who's a pitcher in that group, who will be that 1-2 duo now with Candy on the mound, along with those freshmen. So there's a lot of really good players on this team. And yeah, they're going to have to mesh, and we all got to wait for it to play out. But the talent's there. Like, don't get it twisted. She didn't just come here to play with nobody. Like, that's fine if haters want to say that. Like, I've seen some comments like that on Twitter. Go look at the roster and go look up each of those players, right?
Yeah,
go take a gander. They're gonna score some points or some runs here for sure. It ain't gonna just be her having to 1-0 shut out people.
Exactly. Yeah, we have been talking about that for a while, so there's a lot of episodes where we take a deeper dive into this. And when I think about this too with Nyjah, is like, a rising tide lifts all boats. And I think the competition that she's played in Stanford, she knows what it means to be a champion, and for our players to learn from that and learn from each other. I just see so many different dynamics, but the ultimate feeling that I have is so much hype, and y'all will see in these clips of how much of that energy she brings to the circle when she's pitching. And I just think of all of our players like feeding off of that, and it's kind of a challenge that we had last season where we were struggling with pitching. And so to have this elite weapon in the circle with the hype that she brings, I'ma lose my shit every game, y'all. And you are too, because you're gonna watch these clips and be like, Sibby's got a good point.
I might be in Lubbock a lot next year.
Yeah, I know. I'm
like, I might be moving up my timeline of moving, and that's all.
With that NIL, get us a little flight over there, you know?
In Lubbock, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, let's just watch them. If you have never experienced Nijaree Canady, you better sit down. I don't know where you've been. I don't know where you've been, but growing the game. She's the face of college softball for a reason. She's exciting. And boy, just she's nothing more than what we want at Texas Tech. Passion to the max.
Correct. 2-2 to Kinsey Hansen. And she goes down swinging. A little extra.
I can't control myself, Shelby.
The Nija stomp, you're going to hear that. That's her trademark. She does it after big strikeouts.
A little bit more down to make it more enticing for Kinsey. There's the stomp, and the coaching staff for Stanford.
Got the heat, 71 miles per hour on that gun. Here's Sibby's favorite. Here's your favorite.
And she strikes out Jennings.
Off speed.
That we didn't see a whole lot of on Thursday against these Sooners.
I have a question.
Fodder-esque changeup.
We can get to it.
To mention the changeup. Oops.
Oops.
5 at your hands, and then she drops it down.
She said, oops.
Oops. But they call it some type of changeup. What did they call it later on? Do you, or maybe I paused too quick, but
no.
I need to see this changeup one more time, and I think everybody else needs to as well. Because if you didn't hear, she just threw over 70 miles an hour, and then hits them with it's just
it goes from 71 is her
71.
speed. I mean, she can get higher than that. I've seen her at 75. Like, I've heard people talk about how she and there's a Tennessee pitcher that's really good. They're freshmen coming up. They both want to try to hit 80. Like, all these things are out there, but she's consistently in that 70 range, and then she can drop it down to 50 with a changeup. It ain't fair. It ain't fair.
We forget to mention the changeup.
Yeah.
Oops.
Oops is correct.
75 at your hands, and then she drops it down to 50. Who is going to win this battle?
Oh, and then a little gas. A little rise ball action.
Canady, her 10th strikeout
She's so
of
high.
the game, and she is in double digits. And you see the emotion.
Oh, she can hit. Don't get it twisted.
Oh,
she can hit.
Oh, and she smashes one out to right center. There it
Yaboo!
goes. It's a solo blast. Her first of the season. Talk about helping her own cause. It's 4-zip.
Her first at bat of the season.
This is casual, yeah. So I think we're gonna let her hit. You know, she's got to hit at Stanford for sure. Like they said, she'd hit on days she was pitching. They don't need a DP for her every once in a while. But I think she's definitely gonna be allowed to do that at Texas Tech, from what I heard as well. And she's excited about
fit
that.
right in.
So, yeah, boom. Do I need to go do the altitude at Palo Alto? I don't know. Maybe
You
you're up there
probably
too.
should figure
But
it out.
Texas Tech, those balls fly. So let her hit some home runs.
The hype stays on. Like, she's just bringing the energy round in first base. An absolute just beast. It's so hype. I can't. Yeah, run the clip one more time.
Yeah, let it play. We can talk about her over it.
But yes, the stomp that you're talking about. Yeah. What questions do we have?
We got Tyler in here. Yeah, and this could be a future Olympic gold medalist that's now added to the list with our soccer, our track athletes. You're very likely going to see Nijaree Canady on the 2028 Olympic team, right? She was just representing Team USA on a team they put together to go over to Japan, right? It was a younger team, so that's certainly not the final team. But by then she's going to be older, more seasons, definitely be playing pro softball in 2028 by then, so she'll have a good chance to fight her way onto that team as well with all the other legendary pitchers that are out there. So it'll be tough. Don't get me wrong; it's not a guarantee, but she is that level of pitcher, and there's a good chance. And yeah, by all means, she wins. She helps us win a national championship, do anything. I will build a statue of this whole team myself. Get them to pose for a picture. I'll go out there and chisel it out of wood. I can't do metal, guys. Sorry, I'm a woodworker, so I can handle a wood statue if they would like to make it happen. I'll do it my dang self. But yeah, no, I think that's part of her. Like there was other programs she certainly could have gone to and done that as well, but I think she is a competitor, and she wanted to go somewhere where she's like, I can, take a team somewhere they've never been before. Like, we're not shying away from it. We've never been past the regional at Texas Tech. We've only made it to the postseason 6 times.
And she's confirming too that her teammates are also on that track. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
she is like, I need the team.
Like, read that quote at the end of that article. She talks about her teammates on this.
That
she's excited about who she's going to get to play with.
Yeah, I think there's this is from her. I think there's a good young core coming in and a lot of good players from Louisiana. They're all studs. They looked really good to be able to compete in the Big 12. I think that will be fun.
I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, when you're destroying them.
And I heard from old Paige Mendenhall. She played with Nija. They're both from Kansas, right?
Oh my gosh, yes,
and
Kansas Queens.
She was older than she was, but she said she's just a really nice, awesome human, and that Texas Tech fans are gonna love her. So
I've seen
the way she's handled this process. I would say that I don't know her, but like I said earlier, I really respect how she's handled this process.
And it's a huge spotlight. It's a huge pressure that we don't understand, but you're totally right. I think it's how she handled it and how she's just doing what she's wanting to do for the reasons that she wants. It seems like she's in control of every step of the way, and that is what gives me like a relief and like, yes, do you, and we're here to cheer on every step of the way. But yeah, she also talks about in that article about my goal every year is to win the Women's College World Series. So that's my goal right now. And
that's Glasgow's goal.
That's
that
it.
had to fire her up.
Sounds about right for everybody on the team.
Mm-hmm. And that was, we've been talking to fans like, yeah, there was a lot of movement, and it was like, you got to wrap your mind around this real quick, fans. And I think you get it now. He runs a softball program with the same expectation that fans have for football and basketball on both sides. He expects to win and compete at the highest level, and he wanted to do it from day one, and he didn't mess around, right? He went out and got the top person in the transfer portal, that's Nija. He also went out and got Alana Johnson, who was like the first or second ranked outfielder. You bring over Maya Davis, who was at Louisiana with him, but don't get it twisted, she could have gone anywhere, right? All-American player right there. Another talented outfielder. The whole list, they're all great players, right? Yeah. And he went and got them right away, and then you cap it off with her, and it's big time. Our friends over at Gambling Gauchos did the research for us, so we didn't have to look it up.
Honestly,
that it is, in fact, 3,200 feet higher. That's what we talked about in the Alana Johnson episode. Go back and listen to that. But Alana Johnson hit 13 bombs over in Seattle, which is sea level. And so we talked about her, all the bombs she's going to get, even more. And now Nija, when she's batting, she'll have to counteract that while she's on the mound, but I think she'll be okay.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
So appreciate that, Gauchos.
Yeah,
and then Rodney near says, I've never seen a coach bring credibility to Texas Tech so fast.
That's a good point.
That's a good point. Like he definitely came in and changed things. He had to. So other coaches maybe haven't had to have a 2-3 week where, oh crap, the portal is already halfway over. Yeah. I got to get to work immediately. And he did. So yeah, I can't really explain to people how crazy this last month has been. But if you've been following our show, you know it. You've been here with us. You've been through it.
You've been tired.
The emotions were here. We were very excited about the future of the program. Took a dip. The previous staff left, and then it's just been crazy, and there's been some tough moments along the way with the roster movement and all that, but it's easier to be even more excited. Speaking of those, go look at them. Shout out to all of our former players. A lot of them have found really great fits now.
I know. I've been
really
so stoked seeing them.
Where all of their landing. I'm like, they're going to be stars.
And they look so good in their new uniforms. I'm like, look good, feel good, play good.
They're gonna be doing some good things. So yeah, it's a little bit easier to be happy about it in that sense. But yeah, it changed real quick because you just didn't know. This was when this happened, when Snyder left, right? this
What
was a
day
moment
was
that we talked about it in that first episode. We don't have to get into it again. You can go listen to the episode from weeks ago. But that this was a moment that we were either going to say, hey, we care about softball. And we're going to keep going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Or this was a moment where we were going to step back 5 years. And that's where they were. And Admin went out, shot their shot with Jared Glasgow, and then Jared Glasgow came in here and shot his shot with every dang recruit that he could get on the phone, which was a lot of them, including Nijaree Canady. So big time stuff. Really excited about the future of the program and what's ahead. And we have one more player we're going to talk about that signed this week too. Is a great player, adds a lot to the defense. One of those Louisiana players she talked about, but this is definitely looking like a fun team. And all 7 of those freshmen
really
are on the website, right? We've been talking about that for a few weeks. They seem like they're locked in. A lot of them were sharing this tweet from the number 2 recruiting class in the nation. 3 really solid pitchers in that. Now they get to come in and maybe have a little bit of less pressure on our backs to perform right away, but they're going to still be heavily relied on different days and get to learn from someone like her and Chloe as their veterans. Like, that's a pretty cool place to be for that group and all those position players that are in there too.
Yeah. Huge movement, huge news. I'm sure we can continue to talk about her forever, but what closing notes do we have?
Yeah, I have one quote from old Eric Lopez, who
friend of the show.
We're gonna join his show. I think it's gonna come out tomorrow. I don't know. We're recording it at some point, but we're gonna talk about this more in depth on there, like what this means from the Texas Tech side, and he's gonna give us national perspective. But we asked him what this means, right? What does he think? Unbiased. Like, we don't shy around here. We're biased. We're a Texas Tech podcast. But from a national perspective, he says all eyes in softball world will be on Texas Tech in 2025. As many will want to see if Nijaree can take Texas Tech to places it has never been, like win a regional and a trip to the World Series. Texas Tech is an instant contender for a Big 12 title and a trip to the World Series with Canady, in my opinion, he says. And a lot of people are sharing that opinion that are actually in the softball world. Got to see it to believe it. I get it. You got some young players that are going to have to be asked to step up, and they're going to all have to come together, but you get a player of her caliber mixed in with, again, what was already a top 25 team. It doesn't hurt.
It does not hurt. I think it's a fun rallying point of, like, a person in a leadership role as pitcher, but also having our returning players, our players coming into the folds, and it's all really exciting, which, like Hank said, this is an incredible future. So much potential, and it'll be really fun to watch. So go buy season tickets. First time that they've been doing season tickets, so easy peasy. They're a lot of fun. And welcome, Nijaree Canady. Hopefully you can come hang out with us on Seeing Scarlet one day, because I have questions, but I will be entirely too hype to talk normally. So we'll figure out that when we get there. But a huge get. And then there was a comment from Tiffany that's a little bit off topic, but I did want to talk about it. And Tiffany asked, not trying to jump too far ahead, but can you imagine if Aaliyah Chavez stays home in West Texas?
Oh, I've imagined it. We've talked about it often for weeks now since this was possible, how cool that would be. So we're there with you, Tiffany.
And that speaks to, I think, Shelby, to just reiterate your point, girl, like, this is huge, such a big deal. What could this open up for Texas Tech in general? Like, the potential for recruitment. Think of the players that are, all eyes are on Texas Tech now. Great. We want them, please. And here's what we can do. So I think to add this into the fold, Aaliyah Chavez being
we made her top 6.
Top 6. One of the best women's basketball players, girls basketball players, still in high school, and making the top 6 of potential schools that she could go to. When you see the double T among big universities, it's no longer feeling as impossible. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh yeah, Texas Tech belongs in that top 6, belongs to be the home of the number 1 pitcher in the country. And I think that's a bigger message of what's happening at Tech right now, is we're seeing a clear investment in some capacity, what we are, always asking for and talking about on this show. And now we have that opportunity to really lean in and welcome and support this team, and that, seeing that spread among campus. I think this is a huge point for Texas Tech softball, the sport of softball, the Lubbock, all of it. It's just a huge huge potential for the ripples to be forever long, and I'm really excited that we get to see it in our lifetime.
Amen. Yeah, that's perfectly said. Like, she said it in her quote, like, I mean, you have to start somewhere, basically, right? And she said it. We have been saying it on this show. You just have to invest in these sports, and people are going to watch them. That's what you saw with women's basketball last year. We saw it, right? And everywhere. And like she said, it blew up because, oh my gosh, they put them on TV. My God, when they're on TV, people watch. What a concept. And softball, for many years, has always gotten better ratings than the men's college World Series for. It's just an exciting game. So I don't think there's many people that disagree that softball's not exciting. It's just a matter of it being accessible to people more than just those 2 weeks in Oklahoma City, right? And so now this is going to be it. All our games are going to be on. I think our broadcast maybe is going to get a little bit better. I heard some things on that. I hope that's true.
I just audibly...
Yeah, we're still dreaming, Ryan. We're always still dreaming. That Dreamfort's got a really good success rate this offseason. I'm just saying, between women's basketball...
4.5 stars. 4.5 stars.
I'd just be sleeping in my dream for the rest of my life. I need to start dreaming for myself.
Vacancies?
What am I doing?
Do you have any vacancies in that hotel, please? I literally, when you were just saying that last part, I audibly gasped. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it in the recording that I go, but I just thought, dude, think of all, like what we talked about in our episodes before too, of West Texas being an untapped like softball resource of all of these like girls playing.
It's an untapped diamond, and boy is he tapping.
Dude, think of them coming to watch Texas Tech softball next season. Are you kidding me? The hype has got to be out of control. If you are a high school softball coach, get some tickets now. When is it gonna be, Coronado High School night at Texas Tech softball?
We said that in one of our shows. Like, if you have a team here that people want to watch, they're going to show up because they packed the house for OU. They packed the house for Oklahoma State. They packed the house for Texas because they want to see those top-ranked teams. Now we have the potential to be that. That's where we're headed, right? Hopefully. And now they're going to be coming to cheer for the home team. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to pack those stands, and they're going to have to put in bleachers. In the concourse, they're gonna have to put in bleachers in that outfield for big games, and I think they will. I mean, I can't
Joey McGuire.
I can't question them anymore because they've invested in this every step of the way here recently, and I don't see why they'd stop now. So I would expect for big games, maybe all of them. Right? It depends on what the demand is. Speaking of that, Tyler. It is. He corrects himself later, but it's $20 deposit, y'all.
Okay.
But if you want season tickets. That line might be pretty long all of a sudden. I've got
I was just
about
thinking
50 missed text messages since this all happened.
Oh my God, you're so
today.
popular.
And no, it's just Texas Tech people.
Yeah, you're Texas Tech popular.
And they're like, half of them are like, just called the office, got my soccer and softball tickets at the same time. I'm so hyped. But softball, the deposit is open, so you can go put a $20 deposit on, and then we'll find out what the cost is down the road. But it'll still be a deal that you're going to want to have. Trust me. Because I think it's going to be a little bit tough to get tickets, single game tickets for this team once you get into Big 12 play for sure, just because it's a smaller stadium. But if they're bringing in bigger seats and they're putting stuff in the outfield, then that'll help. But yeah, definitely call up it out. And while you do, I'll give him a shout out. Our good friend Alex Root, he texted me earlier and was like, yeah, called and got my soccer and softball tickets at the same time. That's what you should do because our softball team, shout out. Little teaser, we are interviewing one Macy Blackburn and others starting tomorrow, and their season starts very soon, and they're the freaking reigning champs. They've already been there, done that, y'all. They're doing what softball's looking to do, and they pack the stands too, so go ahead and get both of those while you're at it.
Hey, that's your ad.
You're welcome.
That ain't an ad, but it sure does feel like it. Anyway, huge movement. Any more on Nijaree Canady?
If anybody has questions, I know some people joined late. Keep dropping in the chat about her. We'll bring it on. But she's not alone, right? Today
she's not. Oh my God, she's not.
Start talking about Alexa Langeliers to start the show, and then Nija
so excited, Alexa.
nicely dropped this news today, so we could talk about both. But we did pick up another player for the softball team this week. On Monday, I believe it was announced. She was visiting sometime over the weekend, I believe. A solid pickup, a great pickup that came available late in the portal season, and it made a lot of sense for us to be interested in that. She's a middle infielder. I think she can actually play any infield spot, though. You'll see it in the clip. She's a very versatile, rangy defender. Has made some really highlight plays and big moments for this team, including a SportsCenter top 10 play that helped them make a super regional and beat LSU. You'll see that highlight in here of her making a diving catch in foul ground. That was all over the internet. She can yaboom it.
Tell us how.
And she can steal some hits, too. But, yeah, she could play second. She could play short. She could maybe even play third. I don't know. And speaking of playing third.
F it.
She played high school softball with old Riley Love, our Gold Glove winner from last year, graduating senior. And Riley said she's just an awesome person, and she was really excited to see the news and is excited to see her get to play in Texas Tech because she's been rooting her on in Louisiana, and now she gets to do it for her last year in Lubbock. So that Keller, Texas pipeline is rich because those two, and again, we will never not take an opportunity to hype up soccer. Macy Blackburn, who we're talking to tomorrow and will be out next week as an interview, is from Keller, Texas as well.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on in Keller, Texas.
What's in
but
the
that
water?
pipeline is strong, and Alexa Langeliers is one of those.
Alexa Langeliers, a senior, infielder with a crazy batting average. And you talk about the clips that we have ready. I did a little sneak peek, and there's a very particular part in this clip that just makes me lose my mind.
Hey,
and I can't wait till we get to talk about it. So let's hit it.
Let's hit it. We'll do this, and then we'll give you her stats because they're impressive. But I believe this first clip is her getting a walk-off hit, almost a grand slam. It hits the top of the wall, but it's a walk-off hit against Ole Miss to win it.
This was right into right field.
That's it.
That swing. Nasty.
It's going to go off the wall.
Just off the wall.
Davis scores.
Nice.
And the RBI single off the wall by Alexa Langeliers.
It's a heck of a single.
She has
Little bomb against Florida.
Left center field. Falby turns, looks, it's
See?
gone.
That swing is so compactly. It's just
It
like
is so good. Yeah, it sounds so good.
It's 1-0
fan.
Louisiana.
hype. She's got that
Wednesday night
energy.
game too.
Some defense for its second.
Maloney on the ground, quick flip by Langeliers, and she is out over at first.
That's not a quick flip. That is superhero status.
That's
that was
confidence
so
right there to go
fast.
after that.
Yeah.
Against a fast
Maloney
player.
trying
Look
to
at
use
her
the ground and
immediately.
create the
No
high hop
hesitation.
here, just not high
Got
enough.
it.
Great pick by Langeliers and a throw on the run. Not an easy play, but she makes that look smooth.
Oh my gosh.
Here's another. She's at shortstop in this
Flied
one.
out her first time up. Ground ball hit hard to short. Nice play by Langeliers. Throw across to Kotzelnick in time.
Play. Ball's hit hard.
Got it there in plenty of time.
Here's that play I was mentioning.
high pop. Left side foul ground. Langeliers hauls it in.
Oh, yeah.
And Louisiana's 1 out away.
Plays in the big moments that separate you from continuing your season on. Langeliers, all out effort, knowing how important.
The hype.
Shelby,
Hi.
do you want to know this part of the?
Yeah,
it's the
I'm
last
assuming
one.
it's that. You can lip read. I'm here
Dude.
for it.
Is that the Langeliers stop? Because I'm
yeah,
obsessed.
she got her own.
She's got
and
her
that's in a big
own.
moment, y'all. That was last year. Not this previous year, but 2023 at LSU in the regional in postseason. That was the closing game. That was in the final inning. They had
Huge.
2 outs to go. She makes a diving catch to get them to 1 out left to clinch their first berth in the, well, not their first. They've been to the World Series, but their first under the Glasgow era there to get to the Supers. That group that was there, their first chance to make the Supers. And that was just a really big moment. So she steps up on the biggest stage like all of them do. So, yeah, the defense is my favorite part because
I think so, too.
We were pretty young in the infield. If you looked at it on paper, we had Reagan Jennings, super talented, super athletic, all Big 12 freshman at second last year. Then you have Michaela Garcia, who they just signed as the rising sophomore, the UTSA. Was it UTSA? Sorry, UT Tyler, that won a national championship with UT Tyler. She can play shortstop. She can play second. And then you have the really, really talented incoming shortstop, middle infielder, and Haley Toney, who is, I would expect to play this year at point. She's a freshman, though, right? And now you have a senior joining that group of middle infielders, and hopefully I'm not forgetting. Oh, Alana Johnson can play second as well, but now I don't think she has to. She can do the outfield.
What do you want to do?
Yeah, so you had a pretty young group, and now they can learn from someone that's a true senior. She'll join Demi Elder as the only other true senior on this team. It's a little wild going from 10 last year to 2. But you needed a little bit of that leadership. So, and I think she might could play third if she needs to. She can bump around. She can, play anywhere they need to.
Dude, I'm just the hype on the field at one time. We're gonna have to measure energy because maybe we can sell that and bottle it up and sell it, because the energy of the roster that's gonna be on this field for the Texas Tech Red Raiders is gonna be off the hook. I love seeing these clips. I am with you. I think more of the defense is what's catching my eye. This is beyond athleticism. It is her quickness. It's her hype. It's her precision. And she is reminding me a lot of a Venus flytrap. Like, she's going to be trapping those flies. It's inevitable. You can't not do it because it's a Venus flytrap.
Of
Alexa,
course, that's what everyone thinks.
I'm being for real. Absolute stud out there. I cannot wait to watch her play. This is going to be really fun.
Yeah, I agree. It was a nice pickup when I saw that. And yeah, the Gauchos, that is Shay Langeliers' sister. That was former, I think, number 6 or 8th overall pick, somewhere in that way in the MLB. He plays for Oakland Athletics now, I believe. So her brother is a Major League Baseball player. Not some pretty good DNA to have there.
It's in the blood.
It's right under the fact that she got to play with Riley Love in high school, but that's the second fun fact about her, is that she is Shay's little sister.
I love you so much, dude. That's really impressive that you knew that off the dome like that. Your baseball knowledge is just amazing.
Well, I've also been researching these players for weeks now, so
You've been in it.
We got old. I believe this is Alana Johnson's dad in the chat. Been cooking. He has been cooking. He's been in the kitchen, and one of them is Alana.
Chef Glasgow has been. You know what, Shelby? I don't know if you're gonna do this to me, but I know that you're not gonna finish talking about Alexa without giving me a Jerry quote.
Well, did they post an article on her yet?
I got it up for you.
Let's go. You read it. At the time I made this, they didn't have it up yet.
I know. You just know how.
You say the Jerry quote, then I'll give her stats, because we haven't done that yet either.
I love my Jerry quotes. Okay, cool. This is from
Wouldn't
Coach
want to
Glasgow.
steal that moment for you.
I know. You're breaking my heart, dude. I was like, I need a Jerry quote right now. Oh, he hasn't had one about Nice yet. I don't think.
They haven't posted that yet either.
Okay, so Alexa is a tremendous leader on the field and a big game player, said Glasgow. She was an integral. She was an integral part of Coach Hunter Veach's infield last year that turned a national leading 46 doubles. She has been a critical piece in the lineup the last 3 years at Louisiana, and we are thrilled to have such a weapon with a lot of experience to our offensive plans here. Our offensive plans
here. That's a heck of a lineup, yeah. I mean, you don't know until you see it, but we lost so much offense from last year, and so it's super. I mean, Nijaree Canady is great, obviously. Pitching, you have her. You don't necessarily need a lot of runs when she's out there. Chloe's a great pitcher. These freshmen are really talented. I'm excited to see what they can do. But it's nice to not have to win a game 1-0, right? To have that type of offense behind him. And he went out and brought in, I mean, if I'm just sitting here thinking about it, you're going to have Lauren Allred probably at first. You're going to have either Reagan Jennings, Alexa Langeliers, Haley Toney, some combination of them. Middle infield, obviously the Michaela Garcia as well could be out there. Third base, I think Katie Lott is going to get a chance. She's listed as an outfielder for Oklahoma State, mostly DP'd, but she was a third baseman coming up in high school. I think that's what we're going to try and let her do. But also, I think, again, Langeliers could play third if you need her to, and Katie could DP. Yeah. But Katie's a big bat, and then you have Maya Davis, who's a speedster. I wouldn't call her a home run hitter, but, I mean, she's basically a double threat every time she hits because she'll just steal second. She's like Logan Holloman, also on the team, same way. If they get on first, they're still in second. Like, it's a double. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to get to second base. And a lot of speed, a lot of great defense from Maya in center field, as y'all saw in that episode. You have Alana Johnson, who we talked about a bit in this episode as well. Hit 13 home runs, 40-something RBI at Washington as a sophomore.
Yeah.
She's now here, probably going to be an outfielder. Again, she can play infield as well if we ever need her to. And then you have Demi Elder, our senior, who had a breakout year last year, hit over 300. I mean this, and it's no shot. And I've said it on the show before, so I'll say it again. I'll stand on it. There was nobody during the season that I wanted at the plate in a big moment besides Demi Elder. And I know I'm a huge Kaylee Wyckoff fan, and I'm still a fan of Kaylee Wyckoff's, and we'll watch her at Arkansas. She is a great hitter. But Demi Elder was clutch. Like ice, and Kaylee was too. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, and I said it before and I meant it, because it just like seemed like she didn't care. Like in a good way.
She was having a great
like if
time.
We needed she could be 0 for 3 and Demi Elder would step up there and hit a bomb or get a double or whatever when we needed it. And now you have her as the senior on this team. And then there's 2 really good young outfielders as well. And I mentioned Haley Toney, Bailey Lindemuth. Again, watch her play on ESPNU this weekend in an All-American game. She's an incoming freshman that can play third as well, I believe. She can pitch. She can hit. Cassie Johnson is going to get some run. Oh, Vic Valdez, our catcher from Louisiana. And then she'll be paired with a freshman and Cassie Johnson, who was in another All-Star game along with Sam Lincoln this past weekend and showed out. She can hit pretty well. She can play first, too. It's not a big roster. There's only about 18, 19 players on the team now. Yeah. Which is more like normal, but we're just so used to having these huge rosters in this past few years. But to me, it's cool. It's fun. Everybody on this team should feel like they're going to have a major role.
And
if you're a young player, that role might be, hey, you're going to be a pinch runner in late and big moments, but you're going to know what your role is. You're going to be a pinch, a hitter late when we need you to. But
good call.
The vibe I've gotten from Glasgow, like we're still getting to know the guy, but the vibe I've gotten from him is he doesn't care who you are either. He doesn't care if you came from Louisiana. He doesn't care where he brought your accolades or what you've done. When they get to fall ball, which is going to be really competitive, everybody's going to have a chance to win the spot. Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior.
Cool.
And it's going to be a battle, and everybody's going to feel like they truly have a chance. I don't know if that's been the case in the past, because you have 30 people on the roster, like realistically, they knew who was getting those spots. Like now, they kind of know. And I do think maybe they'll add one more player to get to 20, but it's not gonna. We're kind of past the headliners unless someone enters the portal late.
Can you imagine?
It's not out there. I can see maybe another pinch hitter or pinch runner type just have that option. But we have a lot of speed right now coming in. So there's a lot of speed, a lot of yaboom hitters.
Hey.
It's just a versatile offense, and it was not looking like that back when everybody graduated, and you were going to be relying on a lot of young players, and you still are to some degree, which is exciting because it is the number 2 class in the country. But you have some more veterans paired with them for sure, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear about these numbers too, because I'm just thinking of, okay, well, what if something happens, or plan for this, but it's almost like a, hey, Sibby, maybe you don't think about that and think about like where this could pop off.
Yeah, there's always worst case scenarios.
But like that's, I guess, like makes me a little nervous of a small roster, but I think it'll be really fun to have the time to get to know the players too.
It's really not small though. It's small for Texas Tech fans because we're so these last
used
couple of years. But most 2022 is pretty normal in softball. Now I do think it's going to go up because the news broke this year today or yesterday that the NCAA is upping the amount of scholarships allowed to 25 in softball. And in softball and baseball, it was like 11.4 or 3 or whatever the silly number was before. So now that these players can get full scholarships moving forward, I wouldn't be surprised if rosters get a little bigger. But before, like, you could only spread it around so much. Like, they're going to go pick to play other places. So most rosters were about 20, 22. I think you can only even dress 25. If not less than that. So you won't have to leave anybody home on this roster. It'll feel like a true team because everybody's traveling, all those things. Ben Golan says Rangers killer Shea Langeliers. Yeah, that's also why I knew his name so well, because he hurts our soul if you're a Rangers fan. But now we get to see his sister doing things for the Red Raiders, because to read her stats off, she hit 306 in her this is a combined, not just last year, right? Her career averages over 3 seasons was a 306 batting average with 21 doubles, 35 bombs in 3 years. 126 RBI and 110 runs scored. I think she's also stolen about 20-something bases in her time there. She's got decent speed. So pretty good DNA in that family, I'd say. She, with the way softball's growing on the professional ranks, she could go play pro softball maybe after this year too, and have 2 pro players in that family, which is pretty neat. And that's pretty cool.
Oh my gosh, these stats are nuts. Like, I didn't look at those before at the show notes before you started talking about it. I'm like, okay, wow.
Yeah, and they play, and I get it. Again, we've been through this Sun Belt to Big 12, but every single year Louisiana has played a really tough non-con. They have had like the number 1 non-con, and these players, you saw a lot of these clips. It was against Florida, and you've seen clips against Texas that a lot of her clips in her highlight package we showed, like they've played big teams, so that's not going to scare her or any of these players. Like, they've played talented teams and they've made the postseason. Like they've been in big moments and they've performed well. So I'm really excited about that. We have a question on Twitter. I don't know if it's showing in here for me to put it up here, but it might be on it. Our Twitter's blowing up, so I apologize. I don't know what this is in reply to. People have been asking about, like, who are we playing in non-con and stuff? That schedule's not out yet, so I don't know. What I would say, though, is sometimes it's tough for a new coach to change the schedule too much, but Jerry Glasgow has never shied away from playing really good teams in the non-con, even with a Big 12 schedule at his disposal now, so maybe he doesn't have to go as heavy in non-con as he did in the Sun Belt. I still think he will. Listen, I don't know if we were already invited to any of them, but there's huge tournaments like Mary Nutter, the one in Clearwater. I personally will be shocked if we were not already invited, if one of those tournaments doesn't find room for Texas Tech and Nijaree Canady and Chloe Rossetto and all these players now, right? Like, they're going to want this team. It's going to be a top 25 team in those tournaments now. So I'm hopeful we'll get in those, but sometimes it is tough when you take over this late because those schedules are put into place so early in the process. Like, it happens like a year ahead sometimes, but we'll see. I would be shocked if there's not a big one. There's a lot of huge tournaments. There's one in like Puerto Vallarta. Like, that would be fun. Tell me I won't go. I think we will be in Clearwater. There's 2 tournaments in Clearwater, though. My question is are you in the ESPN one or the other one? I will be dang shocked if we're not in the ESPN side of things. That is all I'm going to say, but they'll announce that when they can. But yeah, I think we'll be playing some fun non-con games to get them ready. And then the Big 12 is going to be solid. Yeah, OU and Texas aren't here, which is, from a competitive standpoint, a bummer. I'm not going to front. Like, I want to play them, you know what I mean? But you still have Oklahoma State, who's loaded. They had a great portal. They were going to be the favorites between that. We're going to trust this Kevin fellow that we're playing in both. Bring him over. Let's go. See you in Clearwater if he knows what he's talking about there. But yeah, so I don't even remember what I was saying before that. What was I saying? Threw me off. I'm excited if that's true.
I was about to say, you're talking about the season, getting ready for the season, but we won't hear for a while. Do you know when the schedule usually drops?
Oh, yeah, no, I don't know. I've started to hear some murmurs on the Big 12 schedule. But I don't want to get into those. It'll be announced when they announce it. But yeah, the Big 12 is really talented is what I was getting at anyway. You saw Baylor, who had a good portal season. They were made the Supers last year. They beat Louisiana, actually, to get to the Supers. So they're familiar with our roster. You have Arizona coming over, who is... Oh, okay. I'm going to trust Kevin. He says he's Maya's grandfather, so it might be just breaking news that we're going to be in Clearwater side of things there. Let's trust her. Let's trust her. So, yeah. But it's a really competitive conference. I think it's the second best conference behind the SEC, and it'll get you ready, for sure. It'll get them ready, and hopefully we're going to be playing postseason softball in Lubbock. I mean, in Lubbock would be hype. If we could even host a regional, I mean, my God.
Soccer did it.
We'll be there, for sure. Yeah. We made freaking North Carolina come to Lubbock.
We made the Tar Heels.
We made the program in college soccer come to Lubbock.
We did. So let's
do the same thing in softball.
Let's do the same thing in softball. Wow.
But yeah, if y'all have any other questions, drop them in the chat. But yeah, that's kind of the updates on that. We'll probably do an episode. I think we're going to try and have another episode on kind of like the national impacts of this next week, like we did after Jerry Glasgow. And then maybe some point we'll do like everybody exhale, this is the roster.
The dust
has
settled. We can do
short 2-minute blurbs on each player and go through it, including the returners, including the freshmen. And we'll try to fit that in as we turn the page to soccer, which is very close. Because we were going to be spending a lot of time talking about the soccer schedule tonight, but Nija
had other plans for us.
The plans, so that's fine. That's fine. We'll do that. There's a great article Sibby wrote on our website.
Go check it out.
Which you can see is listed. I don't know if I'm pointing in the right direction.
Oh, you're doing great, Shelby. Yeah.
You can check it out on our website that Sibby wrote about the
our schedule, the schedule coming up.
Is it too cold to play fall ball in Lubbock? No, it's not. We play fall ball in Lubbock. It doesn't get it gets colder than people think, but I mean, who knows? I can't predict Texas weather, but they play fall ball every year, Kevin, and they will do that. On that fall ball note, I'm hoping we're one of those programs now. Can we get it streamed? Some of these other big programs stream their fall ball games. Ours, we never even know what happens unless you go watch them in person. Like, there's no, you're like, did they exist? We never know.
Yeah.
But
I remember that last year. Yeah.
Yeah. You can go watch them for sure when they happen. I'm sure they'll put the schedule out once they get there. Players should be getting to campus here in the next few weeks if they're not already there and getting underway. So, they should be fine. It won't be super cold. There's cold spells in Lubbock, Kevin, but it's not crazy. I know coming from Louisiana, that's a little different, but it's not as humid.
I think it was during we were in college, and Lubbock was voted the most severe weather in the country.
I think it's more like the most drastic because it just changes.
It was like the most.
So
I don't know
really
how they titled it.
Bipolar. Like I don't really know, but you never really know what you're getting on day to day. But it's usually I would say it's like 70% of the time great weather in Lubbock, and then you just have days where it just like roller coaster, and then it's like back to beautiful. So you just kind of gotta ride with it.
You gotta, it's in the dirt. Truly, you learn to love it. It becomes a part of you, and then you have that.
You use that win to your advantage. I mean, Maya's gonna become a home run hitter in Lubbock. Let her
gosh, yeah.
So
use the wind.
Let's convert the Jones to a softball field. I mean,
just
I don't know, dimensionally.
Make a bigger one. There's a lot of space out there.
They
got a lot of space.
We'd have to figure that out. But we could do it. Figure it out. But yeah, no, exciting. Go get your season tickets on the Texas Tech website. $20 deposit. Then you'll find out what the full amount is, but that at least gets you in the door because I think there was already people buying season tickets like crazy before this. It's gonna go out. That list is probably very long now.
Yeah,
but get your name on the list that you can get your tickets if you want them, and you're gonna want them, y'all. It's gonna be fun times. You saw those clips of her. You've seen the clips of all the other players. Jump back a few episodes. We've talked about every single transfer in the same way we just spent time talking about Nijaree. They all got their episode. You can watch it all, and then we'll do a summary episode coming up or something down the line. But that's what I got for you.
It's huge movement for Texas Tech softball. Thank you all for watching, listening, hanging out, typing in the chat. But do us a favor and go welcome our two newest Texas Tech Red Raiders with Nijaree Canady from Stanford, a right-handed pitcher, and
don't forget, my girl can swing.
Utility player. She can do it all.
Booms.
Ask her to do something and she'll be able to do it.
She's superhuman.
Pretty much the same thing for Alexa Langeliers from Louisiana, infielder who can also hit that ball. Oh my God. Welcome to the 806 LBK. What a fun time to be along for this ride.
I'm just so happy.
The happy times, y'all.
We deserve this, okay? Give one round for us. We've been here. We've been here covering this team like they were going to win. Someone gave a shit last year, like, y'all are covering this team like they're going to win the national championship. Like, that was an insult. And I was like, thank you. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said about us. Well, now we covering a team that could win the national championship. And we're going to be even more hype about it. So
just
we're
copy
here
paste.
For the good, all of it. We're not going anywhere. We've been here. Welcome to the new people. Follow. This is the place if you want Texas Tech softball coverage. We give game recaps. We do video of their games like you just saw.
And we're evolving.
This is nothing new, y'all. This is not new. We've been doing this, and now we'll just step it up even more as they.
That's right.
As they're stepping it up too. So.
Yeah, I love the hype. Keep it coming. Go welcome the players. Continue to hype up the teams. If buying tickets isn't the option, y'all know where to find us. Seeing Scarlet. Go check out our website, seeing-scarlet.com. And then, all the socials. So
cool.
Until next time, Red Raiders.
We'll see you next week for a Macy Blackburn interview for sure.
Oh my God, Macy Blackburn.
Subscribe on YouTube. That'll only be on YouTube. So
exclusive.
I'm really excited about that. It's going to be a great interview.
Too.
So
oh my gosh.
Let's go.
Okay.
Raider
Power.